Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Today, we're going to talk about how to know when your spirit guides are talking to you, how to recognize the signs, how to know when it's just your own thoughts. Going to try to give you some more information along those lines. I have a lot of videos about this, you guys. You can go to my playlist for this series called WOW, Wisdom on Wednesdays, or Way Out Wednesdays, or Way Out Wisdom on Wednesdays. But you can see the playlist in the description of this video. Click on that. It's got more than enough videos to keep you busy for a long time with a lot of good information. Now, I know I've talked about this before, but the spirit guides say that every time I talk about it, I'm a different person than I was the last time I talked about it. So that means the message is different. The energy is different. You're different. The universe is different. Everything is always changing and adapting. So it doesn't really matter how many times I cover a topic. There's always going to be a new way that I deliver it that might make sense to you, or you might be ready to hear it in a new way. Now, the first thing I want to say is if you're new here, welcome. Really appreciate you watching this video. You probably don't know anything about me, but I will just say that I was not spiritual. Of course, I could see ghosts. I mean, I thought everybody could see ghosts until I realized not everybody can see ghosts. And then I basically stopped talking about it because I didn't want to be the freak, but I am anyway. So I didn't think that was special. I didn't realize I was psychic, you guys. Are you hearing me? I didn't realize I was psychic. I thought, so what? I can see ghosts. Who cares? To this day, my website is susanlynnmedium.com. Not psychic medium, medium, because I didn't know I was psychic. Are you hearing me? Most of my life, I did not know I was psychic. I would have loved to know that I was psychic. So that is how, my friend, you can be psychic and not know that you're psychic. The same way I'm psychic, but I didn't know I was psychic. I literally started doing readings and doing mediumship readings, which is basically talking to dead people. And then when I started getting psychic hits and giving psychic information, I was like, hey, wait a minute, I'm psychic, which looking back on it is silly, but that's how we are, right? We just don't know what we don't know. Now, I will tell you guys, the other thing that's happening is that our bodies, our physical containers, the spirit guides like to call them, are upgraded. Everything is upgrading. Everything is upgrading. The planet is upgrading. The humans are upgrading. The plants, the flora, the fauna, everything is upgrading. You get upgrades when you're sleeping. You don't really know about it. Those people that don't want to be upgraded will probably leave the planet because they're not going to match the vibration of the planet. And this is not a judgment call. This is, I'm tired. You know, maybe I'm a certain age and I'm just tired. Or maybe I came here specifically to last until this particular time frame, and then I'm checking out because I didn't want to be upgraded. I didn't come here to be upgraded. Okay, it's everybody has their own path. Period. End of story. Now, if you're watching this video, I can pretty much guarantee you that you've got abilities, okay? You wouldn't be drawn to this video if you didn't have abilities, because the spirit guides woke me up this morning telling me there's three kinds of people. Those who are not awake, and they're not going to wake up. And I'm not talking about the woke. I'm talking about spiritual abilities. They're not awake. They didn't come to this lifetime in this incarnation to experience that. They're experiencing something else. They're working on something else. Equally as important. Important for them, important for their soul path. End of story. The other two people are people that are waking up and the people that are awake. So you, my friend, are in one of those two groups. You're either waking up or you are awake. What is the difference, you might be asking? And how the hell do I know? How do I know if I'm waking up? Well, it is very confusing. That's one of the ways that you know you're waking up. When Now, everybody's different. Everybody wants to be like me, but I'm telling you, you don't want to be like me. I want to be like the astrologers. You know what I mean? We always want what we don't have, right? I want to be able to read tarot. I want to be like the astrologers. We are who we are. We are who we are. You're not going to be exactly like me because I'm not going to be like you because we're all going to be ourselves. Okay. Now, spiritual awakening can look like a lot of different things. Okay. But in general, you're going to start having more. Let's say you had some experiences when you were a child that you didn't tell anybody, or that you did tell some people and you didn't get a favorable response about. Perhaps you saw an ET ship. Perhaps you saw a ghost. Perhaps you had a premonition about someone who then the premonition came true for. And perhaps you were a child or a young adult, and that didn't, you didn't get a lot of support for that, because that's a very terrifying thing to have a premonition, either via a dream or a knowing or however it comes to you, because it can come to you in lots of different ways, of something happening. Either maybe somebody getting pregnant, maybe it's somebody losing their job, maybe it's somebody crossing over, maybe it's even somebody visiting. You had these knowings and you couldn't get any support for that, meaning no one wanted to hear it. Everybody told you to shush or hush or don't tell anybody or whatever they told you. So you blocked it. Same thing if you had any experience at all. If you were afraid to sleep in the dark at night, did you know that not everybody's afraid to sleep in the dark? Did you know that? Because I think sometimes we try to normalize what happens to us, but turns out this is not really all that common. So if you're afraid to sleep in the dark and you're watching this video, something happened when you were a child, or something happened whenever it was, but that left a indelible mark on you, right? That changed you. It scared you. Now, it could have been that it was not scary, but you perceived it to be scary. And if that's the case, that's the case. Does not matter if it was meant to be scary or not. It's how you perceive it. That's what counts. So validate that. But it's an experience. It's an experience that goes into this column of, yep, I had experiences. Any number of things that are odd, different, weird, out there, it all goes into the column of check mark. Yes, I had some sort of experience as a child. Now, even if you didn't, even if you're saying, Susan, I didn't, I had a normal, plain Jane, vanilla childhood, no problem. You're still watching this video. That means you are either waking up or awake. Okay, so you don't have to have had some kind of experience as a child. It's just one of the common things that I can point to. Now, fast forwarding to today, if you're waking up, you're having more experiences. You're having weird dreams. You've heard your name called, but you don't know who it was. When you go to sleep at night, you close your eyes and you see faces rolling on the inside of your eyelids. You see things out of the corner of your eye that make you jerk your head around. You hear things, but nothing is there. Perhaps someone walking or knocking or anything, but it's easy to sort of say, well, that might be a mouse, or that might be something outside, tree branch on the side of the house. You have knowings about things that you become known for. So you would be the person at work that you tell people, I don't know how I know, I just know. And people say, well, how do you know? I don't know. I don't know. I just know. That is the hallmark of claircognizance, psychic knowing. When we get psychic knowings, psychic thoughts, they come in like our own thoughts. We don't know that they're not our own thoughts. They look just like our own thoughts. Therefore, that is the hardest one to believe that you have, because if you're seeing something, you know you saw something, a shadow, maybe you saw a person. And I don't mean 3D in the flesh and blood. I mean, in your mind's eye. You saw it and you're like, I think I just saw something. And I think I saw maybe what looked like a person, or maybe I just saw a shape. That's easier to believe because you had a physical reaction. You looked. Hearing things, you know, you heard it. You say, yes, what? And then you realize you're the only one home. We do acknowledge these, but we also forget about them because it doesn't make any sense. Have you ever smelled cigarette smoke? Because a lot of our parents smoke cigarettes, our grandparents smoke cigarettes. Perhaps you smelled cloves or vanilla from someone cooking, or leather, or sawdust, or some smell that's not there. True story, and also wacky and funny. In my car, which I do this a lot in my car for some reason, I don't know why. Maybe my ghosts just like to go for car rides. Don't know. I kid you not, I was smelling wacky tobacco. I was smelling marijuana in my car. And I'm like, you know, and look, no one, I don't smoke. It's not legal in my state. No one is smoking in my car, not anything, because I live alone. My dog is not smoking. The car was locked. No one could have got in it. But yet I smelled it. And I smelled it for a while. Like usually when you smell something, but you don't smell it, it kind of is really strong. It's like in your nose. It's really, really strong. And no one else smells it but you. But usually it goes away. You know, it might stay there for 10 or 15 minutes, but not typically does it stay there for hours. Like it was in my car in the morning and then again in the afternoon. So that was unusual. So that is a person, a ghost, or a friend in spirit who liked to smoke, you know, the Mary, the Jane, and was visiting me and thought that I would be smart enough to put two and two together, which I did not until just now, like just right now, because I'm busy. But anyway, so that's something that can happen to you too. That is clairalience, when you smell, clairgustance, when you taste, claircognizance, when you hear, when you know, clairaudience, when you hear, and clairsentience, when you feel, clairvoyance, when you see. These are all your clairs. We call them the psychic clairs. So these things will start happening more and more. If you're having an awakening, you'll have more knowings. You'll see more things out of the corner of your eye. You'll hear things. You'll know things. You'll feel things. Are you going to get all of those? No. You may feel more and not have any of the other clairs. You might know more and have none of the other clairs. You might have dreams and not have any of the other clairs. It's like they pick one of the clairs and then they really use that to get your attention. Because if they started using all like 5, 6 of your clairs, it would just be confusing and you would never understand what was happening. But if you're constantly seeing things, then you can say, I'm constantly seeing things. You might see repeating numbers all of the time. You might get songs in your head. That's a form of clairaudience. So you wake up with the song in your head. Like, for instance, God, what was it this morning? I said I wasn't going to this. I said, I'm not going to this party. I'm just not going. And they said, and the song started playing into my head about not going to a party. About, I said, I'm not going to this party. And then I start singing this song without thinking about it. Party on, like this party song. And it finally dawned on me. I said I wasn't going. So my spirit guides are saying, you should go. Right? Think about it. Put the pieces together. I'm always telling you guys, connect the dots. If you write all this stuff down, you'll be able to connect the dots. But when it happens really close, I want you to pay attention and connect the dots. We are on autopilot as humans. Do this, then do this, then do this, then do this. And when all these signs are coming in, we're just not paying attention because we're busy doing the next thing. So then the signs get louder and bigger until they get your attention. By the time they get your attention, you're confused about what it means anyway. Why am I singing this song? I don't know. You don't know because you were checked out when you were thinking about, I'm not going to this party. I know to connect the dots. That's why I get the guidance. I know to connect the dots. I know to pay attention. I know when I get a song in my head, that's a message from me. I know when I have a thought in my head, like, I should go to the gym. I'm like, well, that's not me. That's not me. People say, how do I know when it's my spirit guides? Oftentimes it's something you wouldn't do. Now, obviously, if you're having a thought to do self-harm, or if you're having a thought to do harm to others, that is not your spirit guides. That is an opportunity. And I would greatly encourage you to seek professional help. Get with a therapist, get with a counselor, a psychiatrist. That is not your spirit guides. They're not ever going to tell you or send you the information that you're a terrible person or that you need to do self-harm or harm anybody else. They're never, ever, ever going to do that. They love you beyond measure. The spirit guides love you more than you can imagine. That's one of the reasons why it's hard for us to connect with them, because oftentimes we are our worst critics. We are down on ourselves. Susan, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? How come you're not doing this? That's critical. If you're critical on yourself, your energy is here. They love you unconditionally. Their energy is here. And you could see how it might be hard to connect to your spirit guides. Raise your energy up so that you love yourself. Be kind and gentle to yourself. And then you're closer to getting the connection. Okay? So you're waking up, you're having all of these things. You can have you can have some ascension symptoms. Again, you should always check with your physician. You should always go seek medical advice. If you seek medical advice and they're like, you're perfectly fine, then you can look at maybe this is ascension, being dizzy, being not being able to focus or think about things. All of your energies up here and these chakras up here. And that makes you top heavy, right? You're not balanced. If all your energy is in the top of your head, you're not balanced. You've got chakras that go all the way down. If no energy is down there, it's all up there, then you're top heavy. So you want to ground. When I had my awakening, a friend of mine gave me a grounding ring, crystal in a ring, and I wore that thing day in, day out for months. I would take it off and I'd be like, nope, I need that back on, because I could feel that it was helping me, even if it's subtle. These things sometimes are not hit you over the head. They're subtle. Hearing a song in your head is subtle. That's why I tell you guys, you got to catch them in the act. So another thing that happened to me is I was asking my spirit guides to send me an idea for a contractor to do some work on my house. And so that's what I did, but I also am a very analytical person. So of course, in my own brain, I'm going over all the contractors I've used and thinking about, pros and cons of them. So of course, this is a problem, because if you want help, you want to ask and then give them the problem and let them send you the solution. Okay? Oftentimes we're asking for help and we're afraid to let go of the steering wheel to get the help. We're white knuckling the steering wheel going, I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, they can't really help you because you haven't let go of the problem. So apparently I let go of the problem enough and this is why I want to explain it to you, because this is how it is. And even me, who really is very good at this, I missed it. I totally missed it, because I let my ego mind get involved. And once our thinking mind is involved, your thinking ego mind is going to push out the non-physical, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make black and white A plus B equals C sense. So look what happens. I've been thinking about this, wrestling with it. I've been getting the impression from my guides, yes, this is a go, because they had said, wait. Now I'm getting an impression that, yes, this is a go. Feels like I'm getting a green light. So I'm like, this is great. Let me get ready. And then I then I get a text from this guy who's a contractor who's done some work for me. But when he calls me, it's because he's got a ghost problem. Now, this guy gets ghost headaches, which I've never heard before. But when he has a ghost in a house he's working on, he gets a headache. It's like instant. He gets a headache. Does he have abilities? Yes. Is he using them? No. But anyway, I'm like, oh no, he's got a ghost problem. And this man ends up getting like big ghost problems. The last ghost problem I worked on with him, that ghost kicked my butt, followed me back to my house, and then kicked my butt for a long time. And I don't want that anymore. That is out of my league. That was a Muhammad Ali of bad entities. No, thank you. So I'm dreading talking to this guy. But you want to know what happened before I answered his call? Before I called him back, because I was thinking, do I really need to do this? I'm walking my dog. The same place I always walk my dog. Twice a day, I walk her near this park. I'm telling you, twice a day, 7 days a week. Okay. The squirrels and I are on a first name basis. I know the neighbors. I know the dogs. I know the cats. I know everything about this neighborhood. Here comes this guy, my friend, the contractor, riding his 10-speed down the street. And both of us were like slow motion, like, and this was before I had called him. Before I had called him. Spirit put us together out of the blue. I'm like, what are you doing on the street? He said, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing on the street. I never come down the street. Okay. So then I was like, okay, like a part of me was like, yeah, that makes sense. That's that spirit connecting us together. But I was also on my defensive because I didn't want to work with a ghost. So I wasn't paying attention to that message because of that. Once I worked through the whole ghost thing with him and I said, look, your best bet is to just stop working with this guy. You're not going to get paid anyway. It's just going to get worse. Psychically, this looks like a bad deal for you. And it's so bad. The house is so bad that his best worker came to him and said, I don't care if I don't get paid. I'm not coming back. And this guy says to me, I can't lose him. He's the best. He's the best carpenter. He's the best everything. I said, yeah, and he's willing to not get paid, to not go back in that house. I think he's a smart guy, right? So after we parted ways, it took me 24 hours to put in my own mind, Spirit put us together for him to be my contractor. He wasn't even on my short list, my long list. He wasn't on none of my lists. He just wasn't. And that's why Spirit put us together on this street in the middle of nowhere. But I didn't pay attention to the message. I didn't pay attention to the guidance, which was Spirit saying, hey, you can help him. He can help you. This is a twofer. You know what I mean? Now, because I was still unsure, I double checked that with a friend, a psychic friend. And they were like, I just said, is this person a good person to do this project? And they were like, all caps, yes. But I almost missed it. I almost thought it was just because of the ghost information and not something that was going to help me. Because I was in my ego about, I don't want to deal with this ghost. I mean, a ghost I can deal with. I can deal with ghost all day long. But once you go a couple of steps higher than a ghost, I'm out. Unless my spirit guides tell me to do it. They very, very rarely tell me to do it because I get myself in trouble. They have to remind me that I'm human. Anyway, so where in your life are you getting these messages, but you're not paying attention to them? Again, sometimes by the time you get to the psychic tells you the answer to your question. And you say to us, you're the third person that's told me that. Well, honey, if I'm the third person that's told you that, don't you think you should listen But what happens is that kind of guidance is guidance that is hard for us to hear because we don't believe it. If someone is telling you you're a great teacher, or you would be a good tarot reader, or you're really good with numerology, or you're an amazing, you know so much about astrology, maybe you should become an astrologer. Or, remember that time that you brought in my grandmother who's on the other side? Really, you have the gift. You should probably use it. But we don't want to hear that because we can't believe it. So Spirit starts bringing more of that to you, more and more and more. People will come to you and say, yeah, my friend Sarah, who knows you, said that you could help me with my astrology. And you're like, what? Why would she say that? Because Spirit is saying you should be doing astrology, and they're gonna enlist all the people around you to start asking you about it. You're at work and somebody says, God, I'm seeing repeating numbers all the time. I don't know what it is. And you say, yeah, which ones are you seeing? This means this means this. And they're like, how do you know? And you're like, I don't know. I just see him sometimes. You blow it off, right? Spirit brought you that person to have that conversation. If you're seeing or having, if you're getting information from more and more crossed over people, you're having more interaction with your own family that's crossed over, you have an idea that my dad is here, or I feel my dad is here, or I smell something that reminds me of my dad, or I see something that reminds me of my dad. Yeah, your dad is telling you hi, absolutely. But sometimes the message is, you can do this. When people hear their name called and no one is there, especially if they have it happen more than once, people say, well, why does it keep happening? And I ask their spirit guides, and their spirit guides is because they need to know they can do it. We're just trying to prove to you that you can do it. That's awakening. That's when you're awakening. You're having more and more weird things happen that you cannot explain. Not explainable. Very helpful to have people you can talk to about it. You have to know who they are, because obviously find people that won't poo-poo it or think you're crazy or whatever. Find your people. Now, if you're already awakened, so we talked about unawake, awakening, and already awakened. If you're already awakened, many times, if you're watching this video, I already know where you're at. And that is, I'm awake, like I get it. I kind of get it. It's crazy, but I get it. Now what? That's probably just as confusing as I'm waking up and why is all this happening? Just as confusing is, I get it. I'm pretty sure that I have these abilities, but I don't know why I have them, and I don't know what to do with them. That's a tough place to be. So I just saw something just now. That's a tough place to be because it's not clear from what's happening around you what you should be doing. Now, I say that as a human, but I can also tell you that my spirit guides are like, no, no, because they feel like they do tell you. So listen, you guys, your soul's path, for whatever reason. I mean, I just think this place is messed up. I'm kind of new here, kind of new to this whole earth thing. It's messed up, y'all. You don't get any manuals. You don't get an instruction manual. You just don't get good tech support. You get no support. There's no customer service. It sucks. See, now that's me as a human, and they're like over there going, oh, for the love of God, because they're like, we are your tech support. We are your customer service. Okay, let me explain what I mean. As a human, your soul path is almost always, by design, something you don't want to do. I kid you not. I kid you not. You probably want to do what your parents thought was a good idea, society thinks is a good idea, or you have a talent for, kind of, and you're like, that's what I'm going to do with my life. Fine. In the 3D world, that's kind of okay. Although I will tell you, if you're on your soul's path, you're going to make more money. You're going to be more, you're going to happier. You're going to have more success. Everything is easier when you're on your soul's path. However, like I said, it's often something we don't want to do. Now, for me, it's teaching. And even when I was a photographer, for 23 years, I was a photographer. And even as a photographer, I got the guidance that I should teach. Now, how did that come up? I felt like I should teach. I just had the urge to teach, but teaching scared the living daylights out of me. I'm telling you guys, I would do anything before I would teach. So, and what's funny is photography is a very complicated thing. Shutter speeds, f-stops, ISO, ASA, all is very, very complicated technical stuff. And for whatever reason, I could explain it in the simplest ways possible that people could just get. But I was afraid to teach. Do you know I actually had so many people asking me to teach that I offered a class and I hired a photographer to teach it for me? I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I could not make myself do it. Now, so you understand how far I've come, right? I could not stand in front of 15 people and teach them a class on photography that I could have done in my sleep. I just couldn't do it. I was terrified of it. I don't know what it was. It's a huge block for me. So I knew I was supposed to teach because I had the urge to teach, to the degree that I even hired somebody to do it. The other thing is write a book. I had this urge to write a book, like I just wanted to write a book. But who am I to write a book? Everybody, I would just look at all the books out there in photography and go, there's 1,001, maybe 1,000,001 books on photography. How would mine be any better or any different? I'm not a technical person. I can't write. I don't even care. I swear to God, my ears will bleed. If you want to tell me about all that stuff, I just want to tell you how to fix the problem. If you want to do this, use this setting, and this is why. Some people would go into details for hours about about the actual details, the technical details. That's not me. So I talked myself out of it. So it turns out now I'm a psychic and I'm teaching, and they want me to write a book. So that energy of my soul path, teaching, communicating, writing a book was there. And the other thing, this, how could I forget? So my photography studio was destroyed by a hurricane. So I lost everything. It was a tough time, and I decided to rebuild it. Now, looking back, that's when my spirit guides were like, let's help her break up with photography. We'll take it away. But no, not Susan. Susan is, oh, I lost everything. I'll rebuild it. I'll rebuild it better. That's me. Square peg, round hole. Gonna happen. I found this guy who was written up in the local newspaper that was a business coach. I hired him. I rebuilt my business. I moved it to a safer location. I rebuilt it. I grew it. I mean, I grew my business like a lot. Instead of listening to the spirit guides, I doubled down on not listening to them. I doubled down. I was like, I'll muscle through this. I'll persevere. I'll make it happen. Well, all that happened was all the money that I was making was going out in all the employees and all of the overhead. It was like I would just be borrowing it for 5 minutes until I gave it all away again. It wasn't profitable. It was crazy. And so I did that. And then all my employees started leaving because, listen, if you're on the wrong track for your soul path, they're going to help you by taking away your business, or they're going to help you by helping you lose that job, or they're going to help you by giving you a new boss who's really worst boss you've ever had in your life, and you really want to quit. And that puts us in this position of, like being angry and mad and, why is this happening to me? instead of stepping back and going, is this happening for a reason? Did I meet this guy and, out of the blue on this street? There had to be a reason for this. Pay attention. So the other thing that happened was, with this business coach, of course, I got my act together. I started going to regional and national photography conventions. And I would talk to the people, and people would literally say, you should be on the stage presenting. You should be on the stage. Presenting on a stage, teaching, writing a book. Might as well throw being a freak show, which is psychic mediumship, ghost wrangler, in there as well. None of the things. No, 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 no. All 5 things, no. The answer is no. Here I am. Took them a while. Took them a long while because I'm stubborn. Don't be like me. I keep trying to tell you guys, step back and look and see, is this energy? Is there a pattern here? What are they trying to tell me? If you write it down in a book or on your phone or on your laptop, tablet, it's going to make a lot of sense, because you're going to write down, don't know why, but this happened. Don't know why, but this happened. Don't know why, but this happened. On the dates, you write it down. When you look at that 6 weeks later, it's all going to make sense. You're going to be like, oh, I get it. So here I am. In 2023, I'm teaching. I was on a stage for the first time in my life. They're telling me I'm going to write a book this year. My soul path. 3 things I didn't want to do. 3 things I not only didn't want to do, but was terrified, utterly, utterly terrified of doing. So your soul path. If you're awake and you're like, now what? Just for grins, what is it that gives you the willies? What is it that makes you uncomfortable? What is it that people have said to you, maybe you should consider, but you said, are you crazy? You're just talking crazy. Again, maybe somebody said, you're really good with astrology. I don't know why you're not doing this for a living. You're really good with your psychic intuition. I don't know why you're not doing this for a living. You're really good with those cards. I don't know how you know how to read them like that. You're really good with it. I don't know why you're not doing this more. Not everything needs to be a job or needs to be money. But when it comes to this, if you're watching this video, you're awake, you're waking up, and you are awake at this time on this planet. And all I can tell you is the spirit guides told me we need all hands on deck. All hands on deck. If you get an astrology reading, sometimes they can tell you, oh, you were meant to do this later in life. You know? And honestly, the astrology readers are so much better today. You know, when I would get astrology readings 10, 20 years ago, no one told me I was psychic. No one told me I was a teacher. No one told me any of this. I don't know if they didn't know themselves, if I chose people who told me what I wanted to hear, you know, subconsciously. Because believe me, all those people in your life are playing the role you chose them to play. All your friends, your husband, your spouse, that you chose them to play the role that you wanted them to play. You chose them for that. So if you didn't want to be supported and be encouraged, if you wanted to play it safe, then you chose somebody who's going to help you play it safe. If you have terrible self-value, then you chose somebody to prove to you that you're not worthy. And then when we wake up to our abilities, we don't always fit with the same people, right? For one thing, you got to come out to them as psychic or as an astrologer, as a tarot reader, as a healer, as a medium, as a hypnosis person. And that's difficult, right? That's sometimes where we stop. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going that far. Did you just hear my story about how they took away my business? And then I mean, it was way more than that happened to me to get me here. A lot. I'm pretty sure I was one of their biggest projects. Let's put it that way. So if you're supposed to be doing this work, you will be notified that you're supposed to be doing this work. All you have to do is pay attention to the messages. And because your brain doesn't make sense of them, because it doesn't make sense to our 3D structure of our life, it doesn't make sense. So your brain is like, yeah, that throw that away. That didn't make any sense. That was some weird message that didn't make any sense. That's why you want to write it down. Because your brain just is not the right thing to help you figure it out. Even I didn't see that this person who had the ghost problem was really actually my contractor that I'd been asking for. I didn't see it because I got wrapped up in, I don't want to deal with this ghost. I knew it was a bad ghost. I knew it was a bad entity. Now, I know you guys are like, well, what if I have a ghost that punches me? And again, you guys share your Ghostbusters with us in the comments. But I would just tell you that instead of what the guides are saying right now, and this is where I get in trouble because if you punch me, I'm going to punch you back. So if you're cool, I'm cool, right? Like I'm a cool person, but if you're going to attack me, I'm going to probably get real mad. Not only I'm it's not good. So anyway, you don't want to do that because you're human. You live in a 3D world with a 3D container. Yeah, you can jump out of your container and go in the astral world, in the astral plane, and fight this thing. But the problem is, you're still a human. You're limited by this container that you living in like a turtle. When you jump out of your body in the astral plane, you're limited. You're not on the same level as them. This is why my spirit guides would always say, Susan, you're human. Stop. Because when I was in the astral plane, I didn't think I was human. I was Joe Mama badass getting ready to, I'm like, come on, let's let me have it. It's not pretty. It was not pretty. So anyway, yes. So here's how I want you to deal with it. Okay. Seriously. You're going to fix it from here, from your human container, because, and this is a big deal. Okay. This could change your life in a lot of positive ways. And that also means that it could change your life. You're going to work on yourself every day. You're going to have spiritual hygiene. Spiritual hygiene. You brush your teeth every day, where you're going to do something spiritual every day. You're going to say a prayer every day. Say the Lord's Prayer every day. Pick a prayer. I don't care. Start being very intentional and doing it every single day. Every single day. You don't stop. You do it every day. Number 2, do not light a candle and then, because you're going to forget about it. And if you forget this candle, things can happen. So yes, you can light candles and you can pray with these and you can meditate with these. You can stare at the flame and meditate. And it's very good to meditate with. If you're a clairvoyant person, you can just look at that flame and just focus on the flame, and it'll entrain you. You'll go into a trance. You'll go into a meditation. But do not use candles while you're sleeping at night. Do not do that. Do not leave candles unattended. Especially if you have a ghost. Especially. Now, another thing they're telling me, and this really does work, and it's crazy, but it works. They have those long candles that have the saints on them that you get it at the dollar store. You can get it at Walmart. you get them at places like that. You can get a candle with like Mother Mary or St. Francis or Archangel Michael, and you can light that and you can pray and you can set your intention, but then you're going to blow it out. Do not leave it. Do not. They will knock this over. This will be a thing. Okay. Do not do that. Use it while you're looking at it and then blow it out. So you're going to work on you. You're going to raise your vibration no matter what. Because if you've got an entity in your house or a ghost in your house, your energy is going to be lower and lower and lower and lower. You're going to be sad. You're going to be angry. You're going to be upset. Your health might start having some problems. Trust me when I say this, it'll bring you all the way down. It'll bring you all the way down because they're feeding on you. They're sucking your energy. So the first thing you have to do is get out of your house and improve your mood. Go on the front porch, go on the back porch, go in the backyard, take a walk, get in the car, pump yourself up. Say a prayer. Again, say the Lord's Prayer. Be intentional. Have faith. This is a test of your faith. Have faith. If you fix you and you have a gratitude list, I'm grateful every day. Here are 5 things I did not know I was grateful for. 5 things I did not know I was grateful for. You can't count your hand because you already know about it. You can't count your house because you already know about it. You got to find 5 new things that you didn't know you were grateful for. Because when you're searching for something to be grateful for, that is a huge mood enhancer. Huge. Do that every day. Do those things for a couple of weeks. Your vibration is going to start going up. If you can get your vibration to go up, a couple of things are going to happen. This entity is going to leave because it can't be in the same vibration as a higher vibration. But also, you might find that either A, your housemates, whether they're your kids, grandkids, spouse, whoever's living with you, they're going to notice how much happier you are. And they're going to ask you, what are you doing? What are you doing? In relationships, people start thinking you're having an affair because you feel better. You look better. Well, you're not having an affair except for you loving yourself. That can either allow them to join you or it's going to cause a problem because they want to stay low and you're up here. And let me tell you, these things are not going to balance out. When you're both down here, of course, that works. You're both up here, that works. This does not work. If this person is trying, then yeah. You know what I mean? Like trying to reach that, heck yeah, man, that's awesome. But if they're stubborn and just being mean and hating you for being happy, something's going to give there. So you have to understand that your happiness is important and it can fix these problems. It might fix problems that you kind of wanted to fix, but you didn't know you wanted to fix. In that people that live with you might not want to stay living with you. But this is how you do it without attacking whatever entity is in your house. You fix you and it will go. It's not as easy as I'm making it sound, okay? Because if you're sick, you're depressed, it's hard. That's why I tell you guys, get out of the house. Get out of the house any way you can. Even if it's outside the front door, the back door. Just get out of the house. Drag you a chair out there and sit. It's going to help you moderate your energy because the house has got its own problems now. So spiritual hygiene every day. Say your prayer. Be grateful. Get out of the house. Ground yourself. Have faith. That's how you deal with this energy. Okay? If it's not your house, like this contractor, don't go back to that house. Don't work with people. You know, the first time that guy didn't pay should have been the last time my friend went over there. The second time should have been the last time. This is the third time. He's 3 invoices behind. The funny thing is, this isn't like my friend. He doesn't usually allow people to do that. But he's intimidated by this evil, bad, terrible energy in the house. And he's acting like the victim. He immediately went into the victim mode. And now that energy is bossing him around. When you love yourself, truly work on yourself, start to be nice to yourself. Love is the biggest weapon you can have. Love is the biggest weapon you can have. Nobody going to mess with you if you love yourself. The only people who go mess with you are other people that love you, because your vibration matches their vibration. If your vibration matches the gutter, then those people are going to mess with you. Like attracts like. So it's worth every minute. It's worth the time and the effort to really be gentle with yourself, cheerlead yourself. Susan, you're going to be fine. You're going to be able to do this. You should have seen me before I went on that stage, y'all. Oh my God, I was a whole mess. I was a whole mess, but I was being gentle with myself and I was cheerleading myself. You got this, Susan. You're going to be okay. You know, we are looking for other people to tell us that. The spirit guides told me one time, because they are snarky. You see a line of people standing there to cheer you on? Look, you see a line? Anybody see a line? We don't see a line. There is no line of people willing to cheer Susan on. I've told you guys this before. You got to do it yourself. I'm not asking for you to cheer me in the comments. Don't do that. Y'all did that last time. I'm saying to you, you got to do it yourself. If I don't cheer myself, I don't have the high vibration to do this video. If I'm constantly waiting for someone else to say, Susan, you got it, you're good, you can do this, then I need to wait for that person to show up before I can show up myself. We're not doing that anymore. We got this. We got this. We love ourselves. We're not perfect. I am not perfect. I'm a whole mess still. But I'm loving myself, the whole mess that I am. And I'm giving myself a lot of second, third, fifth chances. Okay? Because there is no perfection. There is no perfection. I'm never going to be perfect. I'm always going to be a work in progress. Right? You're always going to be a work in progress. You're always going to be working towards something. Because that's life. We're never going to get there. As soon as we get there, we want to do something else. So just allow yourself to be a constant work in progress. Okay, I don't know what I've said in this video, but I'm ending it here. Have a really, really good day today. Take really good care of yourselves. Hopefully this video has helped you out. Let me know in the comments if it has, and I'll see you again next Wednesday. Take good care, everybody.